Hello. It's Dr. Zelina here with Acuvida. It's Monday, it's 2:30, and it is time for Conversations to Empower, an IG live series hosted by me that is dedicated basically to uplifting, inspiring, and empowering you all during this uncertain time. Hello, LA. Hi. Thank you for joining. I didn't have a guest today. I didn't invite anyone today because I wanted to just talk to you guys a little bit on my own about what's happening right now, briefly, but also I actually want to get a little bit into some fundamental information about traditional Chinese medicine. So first, I just want to say that I know we just celebrated a holiday here in LA, in the US. I was not in a celebratory mood to celebrate this country's freedom, although I've lived in the US my whole life, born and raised. And I have conflicting feelings about what I feel about this country, particularly with politics and things like that. But this conversation and this platform is not really to discuss politics, although healthcare is political, healing is political. So much of what the work that I do involves political, civil rights, social justice, because pretty much every patient that I work with and every client that I work with has some form of trauma that is the result of colonization or being displaced from our native lands, or how the borders really crossed us. We didn't cross any borders. But either way, I don't want to get into all of that right now. I don't feel that is my role in life. I feel that my role is empowerment, and to empower you guys all with information on how you can take what's happening in this point in time, in this timeline, and in this lifetime, to create a space for healing, to allow your body and to give your body the permission to heal from whatever may present itself, whether it's a physical symptom, emotional, spiritual. A lot of those things involve giving your body permission to heal, giving your body the permission to heal. What does that mean exactly, giving your body permission? So a lot of us that have a history of trauma, myself included, maybe have not had the time and the space to allow ourselves to heal from these different situations that appear, day in and day out. When we don't have the time and space to address things that are affecting us, we repress them instead. In due time, these emotions, these repressed emotions, this repressed energy that we're not able to express, be it through our voice or through an action, or even through journaling or any form of expression, if we're not able to express the injustices that we're feeling towards ourselves directly, whether imposed by someone else or situations that are happening around us, that repressed energy eventually becomes dis-ease. Our body is not at ease with repressed emotion for long periods of time. Just look at people that have autoimmune conditions. That's like the number one group of conditions where it's all about repressed emotions. If you know people that have autoimmune conditions, and right now it's so prevalent, so many people have autoimmune conditions. If you look at what they're like, they have very similar profiles. A lot of times it is repressed emotion. Cancer, repressed anger. Cancer, oftentimes people that have cancer have repressed anger, meaning anger that they have not been able to express. And so today's talk was not going to be about all of that, but I kind of got into that. But actually today's talk, I will address how you can avoid that. But also I wanted to talk to you guys about the foundation of traditional Chinese medicine. One of the fundamental theories of traditional Chinese medicine, which is the Yin and Yang theory. And so we'll get into that next. But let me just finish up what I was talking about as far as repressed anger, repressed emotions. These all cause dis-ease. So how can we prevent that? How can we avoid that? So one of the main things to do, I'll show you actually what I've been doing. I think it's important to lead by example. I think that there's no quick fix and no, I don't have all the answers for everybody, but my journey and my lessons have taught me to lead by example. So I'm going to share with you how I've been able to heal through a lot of these. Well, I am a work in progress. I'm healing in progress right now. So yes, I'm a doctor. Yes, I'm a mother, and I have a lot of accomplishments. But I'm still healing from traumas that the entire month of June completely resurfaced for me. All starting with the uprisings and the riots that happened in LA at the beginning of June, which was right around my birthday. All of these uprisings and all of these riots triggered me to have flashbacks of the 90s during the Rodney King riots. That later triggered me to remember and have flashbacks to times when I was a child, things that happened to me when I was a child. I'm a sexual abuse survivor from childhood. I grew up in a violent home. I grew up in a violent neighborhood. I went to a violent school. So there was violence all around me as a child. I didn't realize that when I was a child. That was just what I lived and saw. And as children, we develop coping mechanisms where, we just kind of block things out. We have blinders on and we just go. And that works for us in that time. Later, as we become adults, we get into relationships. We see what the real world is like outside of our homes. We realize that wasn't the healthiest thing. And now this is why I feel angry. Now this is why I feel sad. Now this is why I have low self-worth. Now this is why, XYZ, so many different things. So anyway, once I grew up and I started to notice things, I started to notice I had depression. I started to notice that it was hard for me to feel happy despite, working really hard in my career, getting a lot of the things that I did want. I moved out of my parents' house when I was 18 maybe, and it was not a pleasant move. I kind of was forced out, not by my parents or anything, but just because of the conflict going on. They didn't kick me out. I just decided it was time to go because I couldn't handle it anymore. I couldn't handle the conflict anymore. So I left, and I never went back. And I made it a point to never go back because I wanted to live my own life. I wanted to be independent. I didn't want to have to ask permission for anything. And I just wanted to be alone. I wanted to live alone. That was my goal. My whole teenage life, and when I was a child, I just wanted to live alone. I wanted quiet. I wanted peace. And so I got that through, working really hard, paying my bills and all of that. I felt pretty proud of myself because I was one of the only people I knew that was, 18, 19, 20 and had her own place. But it was stressful. And even though I had those things, I had my own place, I had nice clothes, I always had really good jobs. I used to work in the fashion industry, and I was great at interviewing, and I was a very hard worker. So I always had really good jobs, and I got paid pretty well for being so young. I finished, college. I finished FITM quickly, and so when you go to FITM in the fashion industry, people just want to hire you right away. But I was really good at what I did. So I had all these things. My career was going well, but I still didn't feel fulfilled. I was in a relationship. I ended it because it didn't feel right. But that, in the beginning, when I was, my early 20s, that's when I noticed that there was some things wrong that were deeper than what I could see. But I did what any other 21, 22-year-old would do. I just, drank and escaped, which eventually led to a life that created more of the same problems. more and more of my trauma started to resurface. Later in life, I was diagnosed with lupus, and through that healing journey, after being diagnosed with lupus, I started to learn and read more about not just physical health, but mental and emotional health, spiritual health, and how to address these deep-rooted and deep-seated traumas from childhood, ancestral traumas from even before you, because we do inherit a lot of the traumas from our ancestors, be it our parents, our grandparents, great-grandparents, and even further down the line. We do inherit a lot of those traumas by being born, just by existing. So I started learning more about that, and what I realized is it's pretty simple. I know a lot of you are social workers, therapists, or in that realm, and you guys know what I'm talking about. But in order to not get disease from these repressed emotions and ignoring things, repressing things, it's important to address them, look at them, feel them, experience them. Nobody wants to feel pain. That's not what we want. And that's true for everybody. That's only normal. We don't want to feel pain. We only want to feel joy. And unfortunately, that's not the way life works. We can't experience the joy without the pain. And that was the biggest lesson that I've learned is, that expression, like, feel all the feels. It's true. Like, we do need to feel all the feels in order to feel alive. If we're not feeling all the feels, including the emotional or difficult ones, they will find their way back into your life. These traumas, these memories, these emotions, whether it's a fight with someone, not like a physical fight, or maybe it could be a physical fight, but, an unpleasant discussion, an argument, whether, with your significant other or a family member or a coworker or someone you have to deal with. But if you have an unpleasant experience that's made you feel a certain way, and you're not giving yourself the time and space to address those feelings, they're going to be stored away later, somewhere in your body, whether in your brain, in your muscle tissue, in your joints, in your heart, in your lung tissue, in your wombs for us women, or other sexual organs, in your arms, your legs. They get stored away, and they stay there until they resurface again at some point in time. And so I'm sharing all of this with you guys so that you have a little bit of an understanding on why mental health is so important to address and to work on. Mental health is one of our biggest challenges in the healthcare system in this country and probably the world. There is not enough focus, attention, and care provided for mental health. There are a lot of great resources out there, but they need to be more on the forefront. And so I'm hopeful that this whole Black Lives Matters movement that has initiated some changes through legislation and funding towards Black and brown communities, I do hope that they are incorporating that into interventions that will be implemented during LAPD encounters or police force encounters, which I've heard some talks about that might be happening. But yes, more mental health interventions need to happen because we're at a point in time where mental health cannot be ignored. Diseases are rampant. So many people have diseases right now. Everybody I know is sick with something. Everybody I know. And that is not the way it was before. I mean, granted, I grew up in the 80s and in the 90s. The 80s and the 90s were fucking hard for people who lived in the inner city. And we are healing from those traumas now because people that grew up in the 80s and 90s are my age, 30s, 40s, and we are having difficulties with our lives. We're having difficulties holding relationships, keeping families together. We're having difficulties keeping our own health together. We're having difficulties with our own mental health. And so that is why the interventions, the attention on mental health needs to be prioritized. That's one thing, but also physical health is definitely important. And so I'm super happy and blessed, and I feel fortunate that I am in the position that I am as far as the type of work that I do in this moment in time, because I know that alternative healthcare practitioners are key. They are key right now for everything that is going on. We are the keys to holding space for you guys, sharing the information that you may not hear from your primary care physician, and just creating a healing environment. That is our goal. I mean, people that go into an alternative healthcare profession, we are not going in it for the money, because believe me, we don't get paid the big bucks. Okay, we are in it because most of us have gone through some of our own personal healing journeys to learn how to heal ourselves, but also to help others by leading by example. And like I said, holding space, creating change within you guys. That is my passion, and that is what I've always wanted to do. As soon as I learned as much as I did, like from the first day I got acupuncture, I knew that this was what I wanted to do. So anyway, yes, mental health is important. It can definitely be addressed with acupuncture, chiropractic, naturopathic, herbal medicine, nutrition. Nutrition is a big one, because you guys can all control what you eat. You can't control the air we breathe. I know it's polluted now in a lot of places. We can't always control our water intake. We can to a certain extent, but we can definitely control what we eat. I mean, it's true that our food sources and the food supply is not what it used to be. Organic is always better, but growing your own stuff is even better. But we can definitely control what we eat. And so mental health and physical health is, I feel, very empowering way for you guys to control your health, be it mentally or physically or emotionally or spiritually. But anyway, I feel like I'm getting off track here. I'm very passionate about all of this, you guys, and thank you guys all for watching. I feel like I got off track, but didn't mean to get up on my soapbox. But anyway, yes, so alternative healthcare practitioners, like, this is our time to shine. This is our time to talk about healing. And it is a complex issue. Yes, it is. There's so many complexities. But as far as mental health and emotional health and repressed emotions, which is where we started, there are a couple of tools that I want to share with you. Number one of the most powerful tools that has helped me in the last couple years has been journaling. Journaling is super beneficial because you're able to get whatever thoughts, whatever feelings you have here, if you're not able to express them verbally to whoever created, whoever you had this encounter that created these feelings and these emotions, if you're not able to verbally express them to that person for whatever reason, or you think that you can't do it in a healthy way, journal. I encourage people to do walking journal meditations. What does that mean? Or a walking meditation, or a moving intentional movement meditation. Basically, when you're feeling, let's say you're angry, if you're feeling really angry about something and you're not able to express it to that person, let's say you're angry at your significant other, because that's a common situation, right? If you're angry at your significant other and you can't express it because you don't want to create further conflict, or you just don't feel like you want to at that time, or they're not even around, whatever, for whatever reason you can't express it to them, journal about it and then move around. It can be, you can journal about it, and it can be simple. It doesn't have to be like dear diary, whatever. Just, I'm angry, I can't believe he did that, fuck this, whatever. Just make your notes and then create an actionable intention. So, like, if you're feeling angry, tell yourself why, and give yourself something empowering to come out of that. Or if you're not there yet, just journal about whatever it is that you're feeling and then move around. That movement creates a space for those feelings to not stay stuck in your body. They move around. So you can either journal, go for a walk, journal, dance, 1 or 2 songs, journal, do some yoga. Depending on the emotion you're going to feel, there will be an appropriate activity for it. So if you're feeling angry, dancing after you journal about it might be a more appropriate activity than like doing yoga. If you're feeling sad, you can journal about it, and then you can do some yoga, something gentle and light, or you can go for a walk. If you're feeling really frustrated, I find that journaling and then walking might be good, because you're like walking that frustration off. So yeah, if you're angry, journal about it, then dance. If you're sad, journal about it, do yoga. If you're frustrated, journal about it and walk around. Nature walks are a bonus. If you can, walk out in nature or be out in nature, that's even better. Nature is of a healing frequency. Our frequencies are being bombarded by electronics. Hello, iPhone, and Instagram and social media and all that. So when we're able to get into nature, even if you're just sitting in the grass, or even if you just go outside to the tree that's in your front or your backyard, hug the tree, touch the tree. Hugging a tree has so many health benefits. It really helps to maintain equilibrium within your body. Helps to, relieve your blood, regulate your blood pressure, your blood sugar, your nervous system. It gets you out of that fight or flight mode and gets you more into like rest and digest, which is the goal to be in. We want to be in homeostasis. We want to be in harmony as much as possible. We want to make time for nature as much as possible because of us being bombarded with so much stuff. So anyway, to get out those repressed emotions, please try to journal about them as much as possible. Move around after you journal about it. That's going to be really helpful for you. That's been really helpful for me. If that doesn't resonate with you, that's okay. You don't have to journal. If you don't like to write, that's fine. Another good activity you can do is talk. Like if you don't have someone to talk to, call up somebody. If you don't have someone you can call, there are crisis lines. If you're feeling like you're frustrated and emotional, whatever, you can call the crisis line and just talk to somebody to help you get down regulated until you're able to do it yourself. I do want to encourage you guys all to be a lot more autonomous and self-reliant, but in the process, if you're not there, there are these resources for you. There's crisis lines, there's suicide prevention lines, all those types of stuff. The other suggestion I had is, most of you guys have smartphones, or if not all of you guys, use the voice memo app or your voice recording app on the phone. Record yourself talking, get out all those feelings and frustrations that you're feeling so that you're not holding on to them inside your body, inside your heart, inside your brain. Just talk about it. I did that, I think like last year I was doing that a lot because I was too lazy to write. And I was like, I would have some heavy ass days. I was going through a lot of changes and working, and I wouldn't have the time and space to process a lot of things. I don't think I was seeing a therapist yet at that time. So I would just journal. I would do like a voice memo journal. I would just be like, I'm frustrated today. This happened. And I felt this way about it. And it sucked. And tomorrow will be a better day. Whatever. I don't remember all the things I said, but, kind of along those lines. And it really helped to get that stuff out because, sometimes we're not able to talk to our friends or family members, unfortunately. It is important to build community, and it is nice to have community and have families and have our tribe, but sometimes they're not available. The truth of the reality is sometimes people don't answer the phone, and of course it happens like when we really need someone to pick up the phone, they don't. So that's when you have to start looking for ways to handle these situations on your own. So the journaling with the moving is good. The talking into your voice recorder, you can listen to it later if you want to, or you can just delete it. Whatever feels right for you. You can save them and like play them later, like years later. Whatever feels right for you. But get those feelings out. Don't hold things inside. Try to do it in a healthy way if you can. But anger is one of the emotions that is most repressed, and it is the most that coincides with people that have cancer. Meaning that there have been studies done with patients that have cancer. Almost all of them, if not all of them, said that they don't express their anger even though they have anger towards, XYZ. So I really encourage you guys to please express your anger, express your unpleasant emotions, feel them and let them come out. Don't hold them in anymore, because they will turn into an illness or a disease later in life. And so that's my encouragement. Yes, anger is dangerous. It totally is. But that doesn't mean that it's a wrong emotion. And I think that's what I'm learning as a parent, is that we have to allow ourselves to feel angry, even if it's, something that's frowned upon. I think of like men who express anger. It can be scary. And so I think that's maybe where the bad reputation, where anger got the bad reputation. But anger can also be a very powerful tool if you know how to harness your anger towards creating positive and intentional change. And that's why journaling can be so powerful. So I do want to encourage you guys to journal and walk, journal and move around. And it's okay if you're feeling angry. Acknowledge it, say it out loud. I feel angry and this fucking sucks, whatever. But let that shit out. Anyway, I don't know what time it is now, but I did want to talk a little bit about Yin and Yang theory. And this kind of goes hand in hand with emotions and repressing emotions. So in Chinese medicine, one of our fundamental theories is the theory of Yin and Yang. Yin and Yang are both very, very important energies that we all have within ourselves and that we also find out in nature. So let me just give you an example of the difference between Yin and Yang. Yin could be considered feminine and Yang could be considered masculine. Yin can be considered nighttime and Yang can be considered daytime. Yin can be considered the new moon and Yang would be the full moon. Yin would be wintertime and Yang would be summertime. So right now we're in the middle of summer. It is when we have the utmost Yang. Meaning there's a lot of yang energy. Yang energy, think of the body as, your body, right? So think of yin as being all of the fluids that keep everything moving inside your body. And think of yang as the driving force, the energy that keeps your body moving, keeps your body going, gives it that driving force so you can have energy to do the things you need to do. If yin and yang were a car, think of yin as like the oil and the lube and the gas, and then think of yang as the engine. And so as a society, actually before I touch on that, people, human beings, our physical bodies, when we're in harmony, homeostasis, when we're balanced, when we're good, we have a balance of both yin and yang. They're both forces that depend on each other. They're interdependent and they're interchangeable, and they like flow with each other like this. And so yin and yang is necessary. We have to have yin and we have to have yang, just like we have to have feminine energy and we have to have masculine. Did you guys know that both of us have feminine and masculine energy? That is why it is great when two parents are there to raise children, because they have a balance of both energies, mother and father, male and female, divine feminine, divine masculine. So anyway, we as individuals have both yin and yang, and a lot of times our yin is high or our yin is low, or our yang is too high or our yang is too low. However, in general, and this can be said for people as individuals, like our physical bodies, and as the collective, we have been operating on an excess of yang. Too much yang, too much yang, too much yang, and not enough yin. Yin is like not up here. We need to be right here, like right here. But we're like this. Yang is up here, yin is down here. And when we don't have enough yin, we're not enough in our feminine energy. We're too much in our masculine energy. And ladies, I know that you guys can probably relate to this. We have to be out there hustling, working hard, especially us mothers, single mothers have to be out there hustling, working hard. And then we're supposed to come home and be soft and gentle and nurturing and mothering. And sometimes we find it really hard to come out of this yang mentality that we have, this yang energy that we're kind of forced to have, we're driven to have because of the type of lives that we have to lead. You know, where a lot of women and mothers are now the breadwinners at home, head of households, and the yin side is not getting enough attention. We're not enough in our feminine energy. We're not being as soft, as nurturing, as compassionate, as graceful, as kind, as loving. We're definitely hustling and, getting shit done, and we're ambitious and we're goal driven, goal getting, like we're doing all of that, and that's great. But we're losing this. We're losing our yin, or not losing it, but we're forgetting about it. We're forgetting about our feminine energy, our yin energy. That nice, gentle, fluid, soft, sensual energy that we all possess. All of us, meaning not just women, but men and women as well. And men too have a feminine side. Men can be soft, nurturing, kind, graceful, peaceful, sensual, all of those things, in addition to being, assertive and aggressive and ruled by testosterone. But we also need to find that balance. And because we've been operating on an excess of yang, too much yang, we're reaching a boiling point. This is why the repressed emotions are coming out. Because in individuals and also as a collective, we're reaching our threshold, and a lot of us just can't hang on anymore. So I want to encourage you guys all to also nourish your yin, nourish your feminine side as much as possible. How to do that? Let's talk about how to nourish that. So actually, let me tell you how it'll manifest if you have yin deficiency in your physical body. It'll manifest as night sweats, feeling hot flashes, or hot feet and hot hands, feeling hot at night, feverish, especially in the head, abnormal sweating, particularly night sweats though, dry thirst, or dry mouth and thirst, feeling thirsty often, redness in the face, redness on your tongue, shortness of breath, weakness in the low back and in the knees, feeling easily startled, feeling easily scared or afraid, even though you may not be completely expressing that, feeling this sense of doom, kind of like those anxiety feelings that a lot of people have, or those panicky feelings. Those are also signs of yin deficiency. If any of you guys have those physical symptoms, there are great acupuncture points as well as herbal formulas for that. And any of you guys are welcome to reach out to me if you want to have some individualized support. But just as a general rule, if you are having some of those symptoms, it is possible that you are experiencing an imbalance of yin. So how can we nourish our yin, and how can we kind of even out the yang? So if excess yang, and if yang energy is like that high driving force energy, what's the number one way to kind of balance that out? Slow the fuck down. That's one way. Slow the fuck down. Everybody's going too fast, myself included. We're moving too fast. We're doing too much too fast. We feel like we're not doing enough, so we add more. And we have this addiction to this adrenaline and this cortisol cascade and release of hormones, these stress hormones. It's like a drug, and it's because our bodies become so used to operating on this fast, let's go. I personally loved March and April because I was chilling. Things were slow and easy, and I actually really enjoyed that. And my biggest takeaway from the pandemic and the quarantine back in March and April was that less is more. Slow the fuck down, and do less, because less is more. Quality over quantity. Now that I'm a mother, my daughter's 2, I have to think about the future and the kind of quality of life that I want for myself and for her more than anybody else. And so slowing down is really important. So slow the fuck down is number one. Drink more water, stay hydrated. That's another way to nourish your yin. Take baths, especially salt baths, like Epsom salt and Himalayan salt baths. Those are really great for nourishing your yin. And just immersing yourself in water. If you are lucky enough to have access to a body of water, of natural water, whether it's a lake or the ocean or some form of body of water that's out in nature, please go fucking take a plunge in that. Because water is what yin is. Water is life, and that is what yin is. So we need to get more in touch with those water qualities. Water, if we look and we think about water, water just flows. Water can be soothing, can be relaxing, and it just flows and it goes where it needs to go. Effortless, easy. It's easy. It can be powerful too, like if you think of a flood or a rainstorm. But I think about water in that it flows and that it's easy and graceful. And those are some of the qualities that I am at this point in time attempting to embody, because I've felt them in here and in here. But I haven't been embodying them, meaning like feeling them in my body and actually practicing them. And so that was one thing that I learned in quarantine, is that I want to embody these qualities that I feel I possess, but I'm not actually putting out into the world. And so being in flow. So back to the how to nourish your yin. Water, drinking water, being in water, taking baths, slowing down. What's another way to nourish yin? Nourish yin. Certain foods nourish yin. Foods like coconuts, melons, watermelon, honeydew, cantaloupe, all of those melons help to nourish yin. Cucumber, banana, those are tomatoes, those are all foods that are very high and rich in water content. And so now that we're approaching our utmost yang season, remember yang is summer, we're in the middle of summer and it's going to get hotter. It is important to nourish your yin for your physical being, but also as a personal, emotional, mental health aspect as well. So nourishing those parts of yourself are really helpful to create more balance and harmony within your body, your physical body, but also your mental and emotional body, and how you're handling the relationships with the outside world, whether it's relationships with your family members, people you care about, your friends, or people at work. We maintain, or at least we work towards maintaining a balance of yin and yang, so many wonderful things can happen. Like imagine if everybody was not feeling so aggressive and everybody was chilling like water and just flowing like water. I think a lot of things would be easier. I think we would get along better. I think there wouldn't be so much aggression out in the world. And I know that I'm a dreamer. I dream, but I am realistic, and I think that if we can just make that one change within ourselves, it helps to show others, and maybe they'll make a change within themselves. Maybe, we don't want to enforce or impose our beliefs on others, but if we're just so focused on ourselves and we're living the good life and we're like at peace with ourselves and we're finding healing, even though we have our bad days, but we're able to handle them with ease and grace. And our vibes are so high that no matter what negativity is surrounding us, they just can't permeate within our energy field. People are going to notice, they're going to notice, and they're going to be like, I want that. And believe me, because I've seen it from someone else where I see them and I'm like, I want that, and now I'm doing it. It's a ripple effect. Just like when you throw something in like a stone in the lake, and you see those ripples coming out on the water. That's what it is when you heal yourself. When you're healing yourself, you're creating balance in your own body. You create a ripple effect towards the people around you. And when you change, everything around you starts to change. You can't change anyone around you. You can change how you see and do things within yourself, and then everything else just becomes easier. I hope that makes sense, and I hope I didn't lose too many of you guys in the process. And my thought process can be a little fast. I think I have too much yang sometimes too. Not enough yin, but I'm working on it, and I'll just leave you with this. Yin and yang are both, like I said, opposing forces. They depend on each other. We may never find the perfect balance, But the closer that we get to it, the closer that we will get to peace within ourselves and peace within our outer world. So I wish you guys all a lot of peace. I hope you guys have a wonderful day. I hope this information was helpful. Hopefully I'll be able to record this, hopefully it was recorded and I'll be able to upload this to IGTV and possibly YouTube. If any of you guys have any questions about anything, feel free to reach out to me via DM. I'm available, and thank you guys so much for watching. Have a wonderful day.